asked who's doing the certification. It's a GNS3 certification and you'll be certified by GNS3. What about the exam? It's an online proctored exam. You'll need to have a camera on your computer and someone will monitor you or proctor you while you take the exam. It's an online exam, so you can do it from anywhere, but you will need a camera on your computer so that you can be monitored remotely while you take the exam. So you don't have to go into a testing center to take the exam. You can do it online remotely. I was asked about the cost of the exam. Currently it's $109 US. That could change, but that's the current cost of the exam, 109 USD. There are 70 questions in the exam. Pass mark will vary. It's going to be around 85%. Topics that you'll be tested on once again include GNS3. 50% of the exam is about GNS3 because it's a GNS3 certification. GNS3, however, uses a lot of technology such as virtualization. So you'll be tested on virtualization platforms such as VMware Workstation, ESXi, Workstation Player, VirtualBox, and so forth. You'll also be tested on the cloud, so as an example, Packet.net. So that's 50% of the exam. 40% of the exam will be emerging technologies such as Python, Ansible, SDN, OpenFlow, technologies like that, and 10% of the exam is Linux. So 50% of the exam is GNS3, 40% is network automation, network programmability, net DevOps, whatever you want to call it, technologies such as OpenFlow, SDN, Python, Ansible, and so forth. And then 10% of the exam is Linux. Now, what about books? There are no current official GNS3 books at the time of this recording, but I would recommend this list of books if you're studying for the exam, or if you can't afford that, then buy this one book, which is a really good book that covers a lot of the topics in the exam. Otherwise, you could take my GNS3 course, which covers a lot of the technologies as well. But from a book point of view, this is the recommended book that I would get if you can't get any others. Otherwise, get this list of books. Another question is, are there any instructor-led courses? At the moment, there aren't. Everything is self-paced. You can either buy a book and study from a book, or you can purchase an online course. Here's a list of books that I'd recommend, and here's the course that I've created if you're interested in taking a video-based course. Another question is, why take the certification? I've covered this in my previous video, which I'll link over here. The GNS3 core team believe that it's time that we have a vendor-neutral next generation certification, and that's what this certification is about. You'll be certified in GNS3, but also emerging technologies such as Python, Linux, Ansible, network virtualization, and so forth. So this certification doesn't cover traditional networking technologies such as BGP, OSPF, spanning tree, and so forth. This certification concentrates on new technologies: Python, network virtualization, SDN, Ansible, APIs, Git, things like that. Things that are important for the next generation network engineer. There's no point creating another networking certification because we already have CCNA, CCNP, CCIE, and other vendor certifications. This certification is different because it covers newer technologies, it's multi-vendor, it's based on the open source GNS3 software, and we feel that it will give a networking engineer an edge compared to those who are not certified as GNS3 associates. You may feel that it's okay to be certified in traditional technologies and traditional certifications, and that's fine, but I believe the GNS3 certification will give you an advantage. It proves that you know enough about Python, Ansible, network automation, SDN, and so forth to help organizations with these emerging technologies. Another question that I've been asked quite often is, what are the prerequisites for the GNS3 certification? The answer is there are no prerequisites, but CCNA level knowledge is recommended. In the exam, we assume that you know what a router and a switch are. We assume that you understand networking protocols. So I would say a baseline knowledge of CCNA is what's required. There are, however, no formal prerequisites for the certification. I've also been asked, where can I get free training? So I would recommend that you take Hank Preston's course, which is freely available on DevNet. That's a great course to get started with. You can also watch my YouTube videos, which I've linked here, if you're interested in learning more about GNS3, network automation, Python, and so forth. I've posted over 800 videos on my YouTube channel showing you how to configure GNS3, showing you Python, automation, and many other topics. So hopefully there's enough information in Hank's course and the free YouTube videos to get you started with the certification. You would also, in that case, have to read documentation, because those courses won't necessarily give you all the knowledge that you need. I would recommend that you get this book, have a look at the topics. If you can't buy that book, then try and find free resources on the internet to help you study. Another question is, what are the list of topics in the exam? So I've linked the list of topics below here. Please note that that could change. We'll be revising the GNS3 certification on a regular basis, so keep looking on the GNS3 website for the latest updates. But at the time of this recording, there's no information publicly available on the GNS3 website, so have a look at that document if you're interested in knowing what's contained in the exam. Another question I've been asked a few times is, I'm studying for my CCNA. Should I stop studying for my CCNA and get to the GNS3 certification? And I would say no. Rather get your CCNA certification first and then come back and study for the GNS3 certification. You don't have to do it that way. You could study for both of them at the same time, but don't leave your CCNA studies to study for the GNS3 certification. The GNS3 certification has been designed for network engineers. So that means you should have at least a base level knowledge of networking. So get your CCNA first and then come and study for the GNS3 certification. If you're studying for your CCNP, I would suggest that you try and squeeze the GNS3 certification in between your CCNP studies. If you can't do that, then study for your CCNP and once again come back and study for the GNS3 certification. I've also been asked, when is the GNS3 certification going to be available? I'm recording this in November 2018 and the exam is currently in beta testing, but hopefully by the time you watch this or very soon afterwards, the exam will be publicly available. Have a look on the GNS3 website for updates and information. That's the best place to go for up-to-date information about the exam. So hopefully that answers your questions. Let me know if you have any more questions and I'll answer them by creating YouTube videos. Hopefully the GNS3 certification program will be of great benefit to you as well as others in the networking industry. I want to wish you all the very best.